If you're in the back, come sit up front. I don't bite. My name is Jesse. I've been at Coinbase for 6 years. My new role at Coinbase is the first contributor Base. If you haven't heard about Base, we're building a layer 2. And I'll talk a little bit about why we're doing that, what the vision is, and how we want to work with all of you. So before I talk about that, worth contextualizing Coinbase. Is the mic sound okay? I can't tell if it's too loud or not. Coinbase, if you don't know what Coinbase is, we've been building in the crypto economy for a long time. I like to say that we have something like 110 million users and 80 billion TVL locked in what is the currently off-chain, private, very poorly interoperable Coinbase L2. That's Coinbase.com. And what we're trying to do with Base is we're basically trying to figure out how do we bring all of those users out of that off-chain custodial centralized world and into the on-chain decentralized crypto economy that's starting to be built. And I think the reason why we're doing that is because we believe that on-chain is the next online. What does that actually mean? If you look at the kind of pre-internet era, there was this whole period where money and information was gate-kept. And if you didn't have access to news, the distribution through news channels or the banks, you weren't able to do anything. And that meant that developers weren't able to do that much stuff. And then around came the internet, and in the early 2000s and up until today, we've had this incredible era where for the first time information can flow freely all around the world. And anyone anywhere can build applications that use information. And out of that has come Facebook and Google and Twitter and all of the innovation that's happening today. I don't know if we're live streaming this, but if we are, that's because of the online platform, this incredibly powerful developer platform that's allowing 10x more people to build applications that have 10x, 100x, 1,000x more reach than they ever had before. And I think our perspective at Coinbase is we are sitting at the precipice of doing that all over again. But this time it's not just going to be information that's freely available, it's going to be money and value. And for the first time, developers are going to be able to build applications that touch money and value and also touch information that they can distribute to anyone, anywhere, and bring about a new era of 10x more productivity, 10x more impact, and the crypto economy that's going to be built on this on-chain platform. And so over the last many years, Coinbase has been building towards this on-chain future. We started as a Web 2 company that allowed you to buy Bitcoin, and then in 2018 we launched USDC. Those were really the first smart contracts we ever wrote. Then we launched Coinbase Wallet that lets you have a native Web 3 wallet, CBETH, the DApp wallet. More and more of these on-chain products are coming every day, but it's still a very small percentage of our overall business. Something like 10% of our business is kind of in the on-chain world, and 90% of the business is in the off-chain world. And so for the last 2 years, what me and my teams have been doing is basically trying to figure out how do we bring all of that on-chain? How do we go from 90% off-chain, 10% on-chain to 100% on-chain over the next 5 to 10 years? And in order to do that, we took a step back. We talked with a lot of teams in the industry. We talked with a lot of teams internally, and we tried to distill out what do we believe the on-chain platform is actually going to look like? Like, how is this architecture gonna work? And I think there were 3 big takeaways that we aligned on, and folks in this room may agree or disagree, but the 3 big takeaways were, the first one is that EVM, or the Ethereum Virtual Machine, at least for the next 2 to 4 years, is going to be the primary developer platform that people are building on. This is what we saw kind of naturally occurring inside of Coinbase. It's what we saw naturally happening in the broader developer ecosystem. And I think from a kind of action perspective, what that's led to is for our internal paved roads, we encourage teams to build EVM by default. They can do other things if they want to, but that's the kind of clear paved path that we're building for them. The second big path, or the second big architectural kind of takeaway that we came to was that Ethereum is likely to remain the primary L1. That means that it's going to continue providing the security, the decentralization, the core value primitives that will be used for the broader crypto economy in this on-chain platform. And so as a result of that takeaway, over the last year, Coinbase has started contributing to Ethereum. We were just at the Interop Summit where we were working on withdrawals and we were working on 4844. For those who don't know, Coinbase has been driving 4844 with Optimism and all the core developers of Ethereum for the last year. And 4844 is an upgrade to Ethereum that's going to make it 10x cheaper to build rollups on top of Ethereum. That's going live sometime this summer. It's going to have a huge impact in making it easier for users to come on chain. So that was the second big takeaway. And then the third big takeaway is we started this process trying to figure out what the on-chain platform looks like, thinking there's going to be one L2. It's going to be monolithic. Everything's going to be on it. And the most important thing for Coinbase is picking the right L2. And if we pick the wrong L2, we're out of luck. And I think as we worked through our kind of thinking on this, where we came out the other side was that there's actually not going to be one L2. There's going to be many of these things. There's going to be tens, hundreds, thousands. They're going to increasingly interoperate and work together to scale Ethereum and to scale the broader crypto economy. And so in that context, it's not about picking the right L2 or saying this L2 is going to be the best L2 and everyone has to be on it. It's about figuring out how do we work together to make all of those L2s work really, really seamlessly. And in that context, Coinbase decided if there's going to be many of these things, having a native on-chain platform for our business, for our users, and a way for anyone, anywhere to build for those users and to reach the distribution that we already have from a consumer perspective with their applications makes a ton of sense. And so last week, we announced Base. We launched the testnet. If you're a builder, you can go to base.org, docs.base.org. Base is an Ethereum L2. It's built on the OP stack in collaboration with Optimism. The OP stack is an open source MIT licensed toolkit for building chains. Coinbase is joining as the second core developer of the OP stack, and you're going to kind of continue working to figure out how do we make that more and more interoperable with all these other layer 2s and layer 3s that are being built. And our goal over the next few months is to bring Base to mainnet and then work to bring all 100 million users of Coinbase, 80 billion of our assets onto Base and into the broader crypto economy. One of the things that is really important to us about Base, and this has been a consistent value, is this concept of Base as a bridge, not an island, which basically means that we don't want to make Base a place where we put our users and they can't go anywhere else. We want to make it so we take our users from off-chain to on-chain on Base, and then we enable them to go everywhere. And so we're really excited to be making that happen. We're excited to bring our 100 million users on chain. We're excited to bring 1 billion users on chain over the next few years. And we're excited to work with all of you to make Base scale, to make the crypto economy scale, and to make the on-chain platform scale. And so with that, I think I'm at 2 minutes of time for questions, if folks have questions, or we can just wrap there. Thank you. Looks like we got a question. Yeah. Yeah, so the question was, is Base thinking about particular application segments? What does the app development ecosystem look like for us? Another one of our values is this concept of Bases for everyone. So Coinbase, has historically offered financial services. That's kind of the primary business we've been in, but we wanted to make sure that from the beginning, we clearly communicated that we believe everyone can benefit from the on-chain platform, all kinds of builders, not just people who are building financial applications. So our goal with Base is to make it so anyone can build there. When on launch, we came out with, I think, like 70 different people who are already building on Base, and we're excited to have hundreds, thousands, and then millions of builders. My very ambitious goal is to have 1 million builders this year and 1 billion users next year. I think it's possible. I think that we are really sitting at the precipice where for the last 10 years, the infrastructure just hasn't been there. There's been missing pieces, and for the first time, we are in striking distance. Like, we can actually put these pieces together. We can get the fees low enough. We can make the wallets work. And we can make the identity pieces work. And we can actually onboard 1 billion users at a very, very rapid pace so that everyone can get the benefit of the on-chain platform. Yeah, maybe in the front.
So why not build directly on Optimism?
Yeah, great question. The question was, why not build directly on Optimism, and what differentiates Base from Optimism if they're both using the same technology stack? It's a great question, and again, we looked at building on Optimism, we looked at building on all the chains, and I think the thing that really pushed us towards doing this ourselves was this vision of many chains running in parallel. In that context, it's hard to capture exactly, but having a native home for our business and for our teams and for our culture where people could feel certainty and surety that we could have a platform. I don't know if, I assume there's a lot of engineers here, but there's kind of nothing like having your own developer platform where you can invest. And I think we're already starting to see the results of this with things like 4844, where as a result of Coinbase being interested in doing this, we're then taking more resources that otherwise would have not gone into infrastructure and putting it into directly into infrastructure. So I think the thing really was we kind of have the best of both worlds, where we can both be interconnected to Optimism and Ethereum L1 and other L2s and other L1 ecosystems, and we can have a native home that gives us the surety to kind of invest all the way in the on-chain platform. In terms of how is Base different from Optimism, they're going to be on the same technology stack. Our goal is not to fork that and go off on our own, but instead contribute and work together and work with all of y'all to make the OP stack work really well and to make any technology stack for layer 2 work really well. I think the way that Base is primarily going to differentiate is through distribution. We have Coinbase Wallet, we have 100 million plus users, and our goal is going to be to make it so that when those users want to use applications on chain, they're not making infrastructure decisions. They're just using the applications. And we're going to support them to use those applications everywhere, but we want to make sure that they have a easy to use, secure default that lives up to kind of the best of Coinbase's reputation. And so that's what Base will be, and then we're going to continue supporting all L2s, all L1s across the Coinbase product suite. So as users say, hey, this is great, and I want more, we're encouraging and supporting them to do that. I think I'm at time. I want to be respectful. Maybe one more question. The question was, do we think we have any regulatory issues using a centralized sequencer? So just as a North Star, Coinbase's goal, intent, plan with Base is to extend the permissionlessness of Ethereum. We see layer 2 as an extension of layer 1, and we believe that Ethereum is a platform that must be protected as a permissionless primitive for building the crypto economy, and that's the kind of standard we're going to be working towards with Base. And over the last year, Coinbase has increasingly defended that. If you look at our actions on Tornado Cash, if you look at our actions on validators, if you look at our actions on stablecoins, you'll see us again and again say, users and developers have the right to run open source software, to write open source software, to deploy open source software on this global platform that's being built. In terms of how we get there, we're at testnet right now. We're going to be working our way towards mainnet. I definitely think that centralization of the sequencer is one of the factors we're considering, as is centralization of upgrade keys for multi-sigs, and we're working as quickly as possible to decentralize those things, and we have a clear path to doing that. The question was, why did we choose ETH for gas? Well, the first reason is because our costs are in gas. So literally, when we're rolling up transactions at layer 2, we have to pay Ethereum gas to publish them to layer 1. And so just from a cost structure perspective, by collecting gas on layer 2 in Ethereum and then paying gas on layer 1 in Ethereum, it just makes a lot of sense for the business. I'd also say that in general, our thesis is that we want to be tightly connected into the Ethereum ecosystem. We see the kind of decentralized, secure platform that Ethereum's built is really important, and we want to signal our alignment to that through the gas. So I'd say that's the second big reason. And then the third big reason is I think our thesis is that with account abstraction, things like ERC4 through 37, users are going to be able to pay in whatever gas they want. Once you have a smart contract wallet, you can pay in USDC, you can pay in whatever if you have the right infrastructure. And so increasingly, that kind of gas payment method is going to, or the gas denomination is going to be an implementation detail that most users won't see. One last question. Privacy is the question. The thing I've been saying pretty consistently is I think there's 3 big infrastructure challenges that are holding back crypto. And I am lying when I say that because there's really 4. The first 3 are low enough fees on layer 2, which we're going to solve this year. Wallets being recoverable and manageable, which we're going to solve this year with account abstraction. And then identity primitives, which make it so you can have a long-lived identity that can work for things like credit and reputation, even if you lose a wallet. I think we'll solve that this year as well. And when I say we, I'm talking about the collective we, Coinbase and Base. We're not going to solve all those things. It's going to be a massive team effort. The fourth one is privacy. We're not going to solve privacy this year. There's really good work happening. Like I think the work that the Aztec folks are doing is absolutely incredible. I think there's progress that Vitalik and the ETH research group are doing around stealth addresses that is also incredible. We're looking really closely at both of those things, and we want to make sure Base works and interoperates with them, but we don't have a specific goal around privacy this year. I think that's more a 2024, 2025 thing. And so with that, thank you all for having me. I appreciate you making the time. Build on Base. Have a great day.